Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bold Moves podcast. My name is Liz Boswell, and I am your host, and I'm the founder of Bold Moves Coaching and the Bold Voices Speaking Academy. And the purpose of this podcast is to help female business owners to scale up their business by helping them with really important things like getting their voices heard, and also how to be more confident and be more bold with your business so that you can get yourself noticed in this really, really busy world that there is out there of business. So how to grab people's attention. In this podcast, we're going to talk about topics that help you with your business growth and your personal growth. So today I am delighted to have a guest with me. We have today the marvelous Michelle Farrell, and Michelle is an online business manager and automation specialist. And hello, Michelle, I will hand over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be the first guest on this podcast.
I know, thank you for joining me.
So yeah, as Liz said, I am an online business manager and I help mainly female coaches and consultants like you, Liz, to scale your businesses through automation, streamlining those business processes and just diversifying to see where you can start delivering to more people than just your one-to-one services.
You certainly do. And we've been working together for a while now, and full disclosure, we also share an office as well. So we do work closely together, but we have our own businesses. But you have been helping me to scale my business over the last year or so, really. And you've been scaling your own business. So we thought this would be a great place for us to start this conversation. So we're going to start off, first of all, by just talking about why is this an important topic, Michelle, do we think, for women in business? What do you find when you're working with coaches and consultants who want to scale their business?
Well, I mean, what I found particularly over the last 12 months, because I've transitioned from a virtual assistant to become an online business manager fairly recently. So what I found is that the coaches and consultants that are coming to me are kind of at the 4, 5, 6 year point of their business, and they've managed so far with the systems that they've got. But now when it's just you running the business, when you're coaching, it's you, isn't it? You are the business, and there is a limited number of hours in the day. You get to a point where you can't make any more money, because unless you increase your prices, you can't make any more money working those hours. And at the end of the day, we didn't go into business to work all the hours in the world. We want to create a nice balance for ourselves, don't we? A good work-life balance. So when people come to me, they're at that point where they've built their brand and they want to scale, but it's working out how, when you've no more time, it's how do we create that time to either make more money by serving more clients, or do we make more time by automating and streamlining the systems and the processes within our business to give us back that time so we can have a better work-life balance?
Yes, absolutely. And I can really relate to that as well. And as you say, we are the business, aren't we? So it's like, well, we can only make more money by taking on more clients. But when you get to a point where you think, I'm at capacity now, so what do I do now? And it's then making that bold move, isn't it, to say, well, actually, that means that I'm now going to either take on staff, or I'm going to have to outsource and get some help, which is obviously what I did with you, which has been a godsend and just made such a difference to me in my business, having somebody that I could delegate things to, like that I'm not good at, like the social media and the marketing and those kind of email marketing that I'm not good at, and learning how to automate my business, as well as being a real game changer.
Yeah.
So,
but it's a scary step, isn't it? Because
massive.
Whichever route you go down, you're having to invest money, and you've often, when we first start up, we're trying so hard to save our money, and you know, only spend where we have to. It feels like a bit of a, well, it can feel like a bit of a luxury, or maybe that you're being lazy by not just doing it yourself, and you know, you get that guilty feeling.
The guilt, Michelle, isn't it? It's the guilt of thinking, why am I paying somebody else to do this when I could do it myself?
Absolutely.
And it's a real mindset shift to try and change that and think, well, actually, if I pay somebody else to do this, that means I get my time back, which I can then sell to clients and, you know, do what I need to be doing.
Absolutely. And it might not even be that it's something you're not good at. It might just not be the best way that you're spending your time. If you can be making a lot more money doing something else, why not pay someone else to cover that, to give you that time to make more money elsewhere?
Yeah.
Or go off and do whatever you want to do.
Well, exactly. That's what I was just going to say, because sometimes even saying the word money as well, you know, can be like, well, you know, really, we shouldn't talk about that because, it's not about the money, is it? But it's making that money that then allows us to do the things that we really want to do.
Yeah.
And as you say, to why we got into business in the first place.
Yeah. And we shouldn't be embarrassed, should we? Or, you know, ashamed that we want to create a successful business and make money, you know, and we are helping people at the same time, but we have to make a living and we want to progress. You know, if we were working for someone else, we want to progress in our career and make more money there. So we shouldn't feel guilty.
No, exactly. We're working on it, aren't we?
We are.
Michelle, do you want to talk a bit more about that transition that you mentioned before from VA, virtual assistant, to online business manager, and some of the steps that you've been working through to scale your business up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think when I first joined the academy, I was in a bit, I mean, that was over 12 months ago now, wasn't it? I was in a bit of a probably state of confusion, wasn't sure which direction I wanted to take. Because as a VA, I think you can end up doing a lot of different things, and it's almost like you're testing different things out to find out what it is that you want to spend your time doing. So yeah, it was a scary time, which is why I joined the academy, to help me get confident in what I wanted to do, and then become confident speaking about it, because I was certainly shying away from doing that because I was so confused. And obviously working with you, I did work out what it was I wanted to focus on. So which was more of the project management, building CRMs, creating online memberships and programs, rather than the admin side of things. But obviously I had a client base, so I was already doing that job for, and I didn't want to just turn around and say, right, well, I'm not doing that anymore, you'll have to find someone else. So one way for me to start scaling my business was to bring someone on board, and have my own associate VA that could take on some of that client work to free me up, give me more time to work on the projects that I wanted to focus on.
And how easy was it, Michelle, to make that decision and decide what you wanted to focus on, and start saying, right, well, I won't do that, and I'm going to bring somebody in to help me with that?
It was a horribly difficult decision. Especially because, you know me, I like to be in control of things, and all of a sudden I'm having to rely on someone else to do things not necessarily how I would do them, but to the standard that I've kind of set for my business and for my reputation. But there was an element of imposter syndrome, because I had to interview people, and I was thinking, well, who am I to be asking you questions? You know, so I had to be brave and do that. But I did it, and I found the right person. And now I've just taken on another associate as well. So it was definitely the right step. And obviously having to pretend to have the confidence to do that in the first place has actually made me feel more confident. And And I think it's kind of seeing yourself in a different position, isn't it? Rather than, I always say I'm a small business owner and it's just me, to feeling more like a leader.
Yes, that shift from being a business owner to being a business leader, where we are then responsible for other people. And I think that's a really important point to make, which is a part of scaling up, that we don't always consider, that we've then got to almost become somebody different, haven't we? In a way, we've got to step into that role of a leader. Because if we're not, then how are people going to know how to follow us?
Yeah, exactly. And for me, when I did transition to online business manager, I did a complete rebrand, because I felt like my brand at the time just it didn't show what I was. And since changing that as well, that's given me a lot more confidence, because I'm proud to show off my website now and my branding, and it does represent who I am and what I do now. So that was a big change as well.
Yes. And do you remember like putting that out there, and what was the response like from people?
It was amazing, actually. It was really good. And it was funny that people were commenting on how much more my branding now is. People that know me, obviously. And yeah, I definitely feel like people are seeing me as the online business manager that I am now, rather than how I felt maybe before, that I was playing at it a bit. Winging it.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point, I think, to make. And I think when we start out in business, it's like we just start, don't we? And I always say start before you're ready. And I know I definitely did that, and kind of like just, like I say, winging it a bit and just get into it. But we don't necessarily think about exactly what we want, because we're thinking about the client. And I think it's only when you get a few years in that you think, actually, this is what I really enjoy, and this is the area I want to focus on. And whether we're niching or whether we're narrowing down our services, in terms of what we're offering, it's a step, isn't it? That's that next step towards scaling up.
Definitely. And I think once you do, you start attracting the right kind of clients then, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. For me, making the change to say, right, I'm going to focus on public speaking, it was like all of a sudden people were like, oh, right, okay, I know what you do now, and I know who to come to if that's what I need help with, and who to refer you to. So it's an important one, isn't it, as part of that growth, that sometimes is just growing into more of who we are.
And what we want.
Let's talk about some of the problems then with scaling that people come to you that they need help with, Michelle.
I'd say for the starting point is usually, like I say, it's usually around that 4 or 5 year mark that people come to me, and it's because we're entrepreneurs, aren't we, at the end of the day? So we always have all of these ideas everywhere. Everywhere. You go for a walk and you suddenly have an amazing new business idea, or when you're in the shower. But because in a lot of cases, people I work with, it's just you running the business. You're not just delivering what you do, you're doing all the other jobs as well. So you might have all of these big ideas, but actually having the time to do anything about them is a whole another matter. So getting that clarity is the first step.
We're constantly going round and round and round, aren't we? And I've come up with these ideas, and then it's like, I've not had time to put them into practice, so that's not happened. And I don't know, sometimes it's then almost a knock to your confidence, because you think, another thing that I've not done.
Or you've not had the time to plan it properly and implement it properly, so it's a bit of a flop. And I've done that. I know I've spoken to you about that before. I put all this work into launching something, and then haven't told anyone about it, and then thought, it must be rubbish then, because no one's got it. But it's not. It's because we've not given ourselves enough time to actually see it through properly.
And I think, like with the strategy sessions that you do, where you help people to get from overwhelmed, don't you,
Yes.
Just talk about that process.
So I have well, so there's a few ways I do it. When people come to me and they need that clarity, we start off with a bit of a brain dump just to get everything out of your head to start with, so you can see it all written down, because I think you can forget half the things you come up with. So just spend a bit of time getting them all out onto paper, and you can look at them. Even that exercise in itself, you can tick some off as either you've done them already, or you're halfway there, or actually they're not a very good idea, so forget about it.
Yeah.
And then once we've done that brain dump, we then start to plan out. So I use a bit of a matrix to plan out what projects or what ideas are going to take the most effort, but also have the biggest impact on your business. And then you've got those that are going to take a lot of work, but are not going to have much impact. So, they can go to the bottom of the pile. Then we can identify the quick wins. So, what have we already got that we can just add a couple of things to tick it off? And then that's either generating some additional income, if it's a guide that you can sell, or something you've already got the content for that you can then sell. Or then you've got the stuff that's not a lot of work, but is a high impact, and they're the ones, right, let's start off with them.
Yes.
Some changes in the business.
Yeah, that's so good, because sometimes we can spend a lot of time and effort on something that's not really having a big impact on our business, can't we? And I know I've come across that working with people as a coach as well, that sometimes we're doing things because it's like, well, everyone else is doing that, so that must be the right thing to do, or it feels comfortable to us, so we're continuing to do those things. But the hard things, it's like, I don't know where to start. So I think like what you do and what you've helped me with is like just creating that plan, so we've got a step-by-step process, because that's what we need, isn't it?
And because you can have this idea and what you want it to look like as a business owner, you can know exactly what you want it to look like, but you might not have the knowledge of technology, for example, to actually, like you say, know where to start. Whereas when I work with my clients and I do this chaos to clarity consultation, I can see what they're trying to achieve, and then using my knowledge of technology and different platforms, I can then turn it into an actual reality. So say, right, you need this platform to do this will link to this here, and it's the actual logistics of how it's all going to work together is often what holds people back from starting.
Definitely. And having a clear strategy, I think having a clear strategy, knowing how to do it, and then using an expert, going to the right person who can help you. Because I don't know about you, but I've tried in the past to do things and thought, well, again, this is something that I should be doing myself. I can't afford to pay someone to do it. I know recently I had an issue with my website and just thought, oh, well, I'll just, carry on as it is and trying to do it myself. And in the end, it needed an expert to come and sort it out. And within a week, it's done, and you feel so much better.
And the difference it can make, how you appear to your potential clients, the client experience for your existing clients, it makes such a difference. And then you think, why didn't I just do that sooner?
We're so stubborn sometimes, aren't we? Because we don't want to do it. We don't want to pay money. Whereas it's, again, back to that mindset of, right, if we're scaling up and being that leader, we don't need to be doing everything. We can find the right person to do it for us. Absolutely. So that's the strategy part of it, I think, for scaling up, that's important. Let's talk about the systems as well, because I know something that you've been helping me with from the start of this year has been automation and implementing a CRM system, which is something that I didn't have before. So can you talk about what is a CRM system for anyone listening who doesn't know what it is?
So I think when I mention CRMs, people they just feel a bit scared by it, or even think, well, I'm not at that point and I don't need it yet. But it's simply a platform, an online platform, to help you to manage your leads and your clients.
Yeah.
Have them all in one place. And I think the very first step that everyone needs really is, I know we've talked about it, is having one place to direct people to from at the very start of their journey with you. And that, what obviously we've done is created your lead capture form, which is on your website and links to your CRM system, with the aim of getting everyone who contacts you, because we live in such a digital world where people can contact you on so many different platforms, and then trying to remember, have you replied to that person, have you followed them up? So it's even though a CRM is amazing at automating your workflows and helping you manage, it is there to help. It isn't there to run your business. So you still have to have some input. So you can have the best CRM system in the world, but if you're not directing people to it in the first place, then it's not going to work. And it's something you do have to kind of train yourself to do, don't you?
Oh yeah.
So the CRM system that we use, Dubsado, is, so it is an off-the-shelf CRM system, but it can be tailored to fit, you know, your needs and the way you run your business. So yeah, that starting point of getting everyone to fill in the same form, they're automatically put on the system, and then you can build whatever automated workflows you want to tell the system what to do in under certain conditions. Simply put, it is just an online system that helps you to manage your inquiries and your clients.
And CRM stands for client relationship management. And I think for me, like the areas that it's helping me to scale, as you said, firstly, is that first point of contact when people approach you as a business owner, that on the website it's so obvious, like how to get in touch. And their details then go straight into my system. But then I think the other thing is that communication. So as a business owner, as a coach and consultant, you can be out with clients. I could be delivering training, and getting back to people was often something I was having to do in the evenings. Whereas now I don't need to, because it automatically replies to people, books them into my calendar and responds to them. So I think that's good experience for them. When they're first having an experience of your company. But it's also the difference it makes to you as a business owner as well, as you're scaling up.
Again, giving you back that time, isn't it? And I think an important thing is, like what you were saying before about thinking, you know, we think a lot about what our clients want and what's best for them, and not always what's best for us. And I think that, you know, often we want to, we should reply to them there and just make it easier for our clients. And obviously we want it to be easy and seamless, but by directing them to one place and giving them a process to follow, it sets those boundaries at the very beginning of the relationship with you. Like you say, you look professional, you're giving a great image, they're happy with the experience. And yeah, you might think, oh, I'll just reply to this message, but in the end, that's not going to give them the best experience. It might be convenient right there and then, but going forward.
Exactly. So when you're sat on your sofa in the evening with a glass of wine and you're responding to somebody on your phone, on an email, it doesn't look professional, does it? Whereas actually just an automation from your website, if that's convenient timing for them to do it in the evening, if they immediately get a response, they can book an appointment with you. That's great, you know. And I think that is the other area for me, is that it's given me so much time back, because I've been able to dictate which days and times I want people to book appointments as well, and have those blocks in my diary. So I now know that, you know, I've got the space around that, and I can have those at good times for me. And I think when you're giving people the options, choose one of them, you don't feel, if you were having a back and forth, you know, message conversation with them, you would probably be inclined to open up a different day for them, because it's kind of there and then. Whereas when you're kind of separated from it, they see the options, they'll pick an option, and that's it really. So they're happy, you're happy, Yes. Yes, exactly. So for me, I think it's thinking about when you're scaling your business, remembering that we have to put systems and processes in place, because I know for myself, I didn't think, that wasn't the first thing I thought of when I started my business.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like taking a step back to lay the foundations before I can build on them to grow the business.
Yeah.
I don't know about for you.
Absolutely, because you will get to a point where without those systems and those processes in place, the busier you get, the easier it is to, miss out on opportunities, isn't it? Not provide the best service because you're not coming back to people. So yeah, it is a bit of a right, let's step right back and strip it all out. But in doing that, I think it's much easier to see the areas where improvements can be made, or maybe you're doing something and you think, well, actually I don't need to even do that step, so scrap that. So it does take a bit of time, but the time that you're going to get back from taking that step back and planning it all out and then implementing it will make such a difference going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, long term. No, good. So what about the next bold move for you then, Michelle? What's next for you with scaling your business?
Well, like I said, I've got my third associate
team member.
So that's really exciting. But for me now, as I've been talking about the one-to-one services that I offer and the getting to that full capacity. The next step for me now is to start delivering what I do to business owners, to show them and lead them through the process of actually getting it done themselves. So I can, so I've got a couple of workshops coming up in the next couple of months to help people A, get that clarity, and then B, get everything implemented. So that's the next step, which is a bit scary because I'm not just sat in my office behind my desk, not having to talk to anyone.
And I can see if you're listening to this and not watching it, I can see how you're now shifting about more, and I'm making you nervous now.
Yes,
isn't it? How it should make us feel, when we're taking that next leap.
Exactly.
It has to be uncomfortable, doesn't it? Because that's what growth is all about. And it's not nice, is it? Like, we all know at every stage going through that growth, it means it requires change, it requires learning, experimenting, trying new things, and we've got to tweak it and try different things along the way.
Absolutely, or we'll never grow, will we? I sat in my comfort zone for 2.5 years and didn't move anywhere, and then the last 18 months so much has changed. Like I feel like a different person, never mind a different business, honestly. And that's obviously being part of the academy has made me do that, and I know I don't like it, and I do think, oh, what's Liz going to make me do
that? She's not making me do a podcast now, is she?
But we won't get anywhere if we don't do it, will we? So
it does help, doesn't it? In the long run, for sure.
So and you learn so much in doing it, don't you?
Absolutely. And I'm a great believer we can learn from each other as well, can't we? So yes, I'm excited to see you do your workshop.
Yes.
So give it a quick plug then, Michelle, and we'll drop the link in afterwards.
So we've got a free workshop coming up in May, and that is my Overwhelmed to Organised workshop, and that is where we are going to do what I talked about, doing the brain dump and just getting all those ideas out that you've got and prioritizing, just so you can find those quick wins that we can get done quickly, but also the big money making ideas that are going to make a difference to your business. So that's coming up at the beginning of May.
Yeah, brilliant. And it'll be a good first step, won't it? And I think that's something we all need, is to go from overwhelmed to organised. And I definitely feel like you've helped me a lot with that in my business. So thank you for that and continuing to do so. And I think there's always going to be a point in our business when we feel overwhelmed as well, because as you say, as entrepreneurs, that's what we're like. We're constantly going to be coming up with new ideas, evolving, growing the business, trying new things, you know, coming up with the next idea. And it's just a constant cycle, isn't it? So learning how to manage that is a valuable tool.
Thing, isn't it? Because once you and it is a bit of a cycle, don't we go on it, it's up and down all the time, isn't it? But I know in my planner every month it says, how do you want to feel this month? And every month I write calm and in control. And throughout the month it's like that.
Yeah, it's difficult to feel calm and in control, isn't it, when you're a woman running your own business trying to do everything else as well. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Michelle. I've really enjoyed chatting to you about this, and I hope that anyone listening has enjoyed as well. And if people want to get in touch with you because they're listening to this thinking, oh, I could use some help, how would they do that? What's your Instagram
So you
contact?
can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram, Michelle Farrell OBM, or my website is michellefarrell.co.uk.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and look forward to seeing you delivering your workshop very soon. Thank you everybody for listening, and please subscribe to this if you've enjoyed listening to us, and look out for the next episode of the podcast very soon. And we'd love to hear your comments and feedback, so please let us know below. What did you enjoy about this podcast? What else would you like to hear us talking about in the future on the Bold Moves podcast? Thank you, and keep making those bold moves. Bye.